Congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks.
Feel the pain of the Seahawks rain raining down on you. Feel the pain of the Seahawks rain raining down on you. Yeah.
The Seahawks won Super Bowl 48 against the Denver Broncos 43-8 in New York on February 2nd, 2014. Most of the news discussed about Super Bowl in the 2 weeks that we were waiting for it, seemed to be about the weather. The weather was actually warmer than it was in, say, if they had it in Denver or in Seattle. And NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was even seen sitting out in the cold in the seats to show that New York can host the Super Bowl. I expected more for Denver this year. Both teams were 13-3. Denver had the #1 offense, and Seattle had the #1 defense of the league. But Richard Sherman quoted, "We figured out hand signals for a few of his route audibles." And he went on to discuss on how they were jumping the routes. And once he would audible, they would know exactly which route they were taking. So this explained why there was such a dominant defense compared to Denver's offense, which is actually, quite genius, I thought. And it was horrible for us bettors. But let me get to that in a minute. One thing I wanted to say, I wanted to give hats off to Cliff Averill. He was 5 years with the Lions. The Lions didn't sign him this year and decided to let him go for salary cap reasons. Cliff wanted way too much money, and Detroit just couldn't go over the cap. So, he picked up that Seattle contract, 2-year contract, $13 million. And this year he won a Super Bowl ring. So congratulations to Cliff Averill, a longtime Detroit Lions player, and he did a great job in the Super Bowl as well. They're talking about the rematch of Seattle and the Broncos first game of next season. I don't know yet if it's going to be a preseason, a Hall of Fame game, or the kickoff of the regular season. That needs to be waits to be seen. So we'll see what happens on the rematch. So hopefully that happens. That'll be interesting to watch. And they're also citing the Seahawks defense against the '85 Chicago Bears in Super Bowl 20. But I don't see how that happened, since the Bears played the Patriots, who's Cinderella wildcard team. If they would have played like the Dolphins, that's who the Patriots beat in the championship, I think it would have been more of a comparison, but they didn't. But Chicago Bears did win that game 46-10 on their defense against the Patriots. All right, let's just go into betting news here. It was a horrible day for us bettors. I didn't bet too much, so I lost about 60% of what I bet in Vegas. But they said the bettors lost $19.7 million in Vegas alone. That accounts for about 1% of the money wagers worldwide. And so it was a big loss for anybody, and a big gain. Expect to see more casinos going up, I'm sure. The sportsbooks, usually they've won the last 22 of the last 24 years in Vegas on the Super Bowl, but never gained as high as they did this year. So this is definitely a record amount. Some of the things that I could bring up: 62% of the bettors chose the Broncos to win the Super Bowl minus the spread, and 55% of them chose the under. It was 50-1 for the first score of the game, and I actually saw that. I was going to bet on that too, but because I've seen it before with the Patriots, and it's like 50-1. It was like 1,000-1. It was one with the Patriots, and I didn't bet it then, and I saw it this time, but I was like 50-1. That's just a waste of money, and it happened. So I'm like, who knew? The last 5 Super Bowl coin tosses were heads, but this year is tails. Like I said, this is an off year. But that was just a 50-50 wager, so no one says. The national anthem, I said, always choose the over. And this year, they set it too high. and her practice singings was low, so they bumped up the spread, and it came in just underneath the spread. So that was a bad bet. I didn't know what the times were. I didn't do that much research on it, but that's what I usually pick. See, the color of the Gatorade bath at the end of the game. The favorite was, I think, green, and it was orange this year. I don't know. People just bet on anything. And even the MVP, Malcolm Smith, was 20-1 betting field odds on, because he wasn't even selected as an MVP bet. So you would have to pick the field odds. This is the first defensive player to win the MVP since Dexter Jackson in Super Bowl 37. So, you know, that, like I said, the house won this year. And the only thing that saved my butt this year was I won 2 of the office squares in the office pool. So, hey, you know, I'll take all my winnings however I get them. So this is the last video for the NFL to the start of next year. I might bring you some Lions news and some draft news. But stay tuned, subscribe channel, like if you like. Enjoy my Seattle Seahawks montage video. And you have yourself a great offseason. Peace.